Actually, no, it's grand. Listen, did you know about that? She made us.
Last chance to back out. Looking like your present. It should tie you over until your 30th. See you though. I'll be the one in white. Love you, Katie.
once said, "Love recognises no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope." And Katie and John have arrived at this destination, their wedding, here at beautiful Ardoe House, for a celebration of love and happiness. Not just to celebrate the enduring love between this beautiful couple, but the love that everyone gathered here feels for them, as we wish them all the joy and happiness in the world here on this most special of days. And on behalf of our bride and groom, I'd like to extend a special thank you to those of you who have travelled a long way to be with Katie and John today. But welcome to you all, from near and far. My name is Sharon Short and I belong to an organisation called Humanist Association Scotland. And I have the honour of being Katie and John's celebrant today. We're going to start with a special ceremony of candle lighting. During their time together, it's clear that Katie and John have come to understand, respect and love each other dearly. And they are today publicly declaring that they wish to spend the rest of their lives together. In just a moment, they'll be lighting 2 candles to symbolise their separate lives before their union as a married couple. Later on, they'll be lighting a 3rd candle to represent the joining together of their lives in marriage. In a partnership of equals, such as the one that Katie and John have, each partner cares for the other through both the difficult times and the good times. They will share the laughter and tears, the joy and sadness, as well as the companionship and tranquility, simply being together. But at the same time, they will continue to respect each other's individuality and uniqueness. And this is represented by the 2 flames. Would you like to come forward and light the 2 candles? Take one each. Just do the same. Now, for those of you who have not been to a humanist wedding before, Katie and John are here today to happily proclaim their intention to marry. In doing so, they are allowing us to participate in the celebration of a love that they've nurtured for many years. Theirs is a partnership freely chosen and founded on friendship, trust and respect. A partnership that encourages not only open communication, self-expression and the sharing of knowledge, but also an enthusiasm for life. It is based on the belief that each is equally important and that any pretense of superiority by either would be injurious to both. Katie and John believe that marriage is essentially a human institution. Therefore, this ceremony finds its deepest meaning in the celebration of being human. What does marriage mean, though? The writer Chris Ardoe had something very simple but true that he said about marriage. And what he said was, marriage is love walking hand in hand together. It's laughing with each other about silly little things and learning to discuss the big things with care and tenderness. In marriage, love is trusting each other when you're apart. It's getting over disappointments and hurts, knowing that they're present in all relationships. It's the realisation that there is no one else in the world that you'd rather be with than the one you're married to. It's thinking of new things to do together, growing old together. Marriage is being in love for the rest of your life. Now, Katie and John have picked a very beautiful, very classical poem for you to share today. And it's by the American poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I'm going to ask you just to look at each other, take each other's hands for a moment. I'm going to go over here. I'm just a voice for you. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being an ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs. And with my childhood's faith, I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles and tears of all my life. Now we're going to hear a little bit now about how Katie and John met and the circumstances that brought us here today. We're going to hear about their love story. Katie and John were fortunate to find each other early on in their lives, as they both met when they were 20 and 19. They were both invited to a mutual friend's birthday party on the 14th of January 2011. Katie's first impression was that John was a very handsome lad. John thought Katie was one of the smallest girls, but with great dance moves. Katie says of that first meeting that although she doesn't believe in soulmates or the one, since meeting John, she now does believe in love at first sight. Indeed, the morning after she met him, Katie went into work and told a colleague, "I met my future husband last night." Now, at the time, Katie meant it as a wee joke. She really fancied John. But here you both are today. They decided to meet up again after the party. And John thoughtfully asked one of Katie's friends for advice on where to take her. After being assured that Katie's favourite restaurant was Presso, he went ahead and booked a table, confident of really impressing Katie. Unfortunately, Katie had never been there in her life. However, John recalls a lovely date with no awkwardness at all, and Katie must have been suitably impressed too, because they've been together ever since. It took John a good 4 months to persuade Katie to make the relationship official. And things were quite tight for a couple of years because Katie was still studying and John was working to improve his career prospects. And he didn't pass his driving test for a couple of years either. But, you know, they found they had so much in common. Now, they both like the idea of going to the gym.
It's getting a bit offensive.
They love some of the older music styles, and their perfect date night is to go and watch a good movie, followed by a burger. They just enjoy spending time in each other's company. And sometimes watching a movie that John's downloaded.
There's police in here, don't there?
Now, they had a great time on their holiday together in Turkey. I think that's a safer subject. And they know that they'll make great holiday companions in the future. And perhaps most importantly, they laugh at the same things. By 2015, it was time for Katie and John to move the relationship on. And they moved into their first rented home. They knew they wanted to share their lives, but the rent was so high, it meant they couldn't afford to make a long-term commitment and buy their own wee home. It was a problem. Katie and John didn't want to go backwards again, as they loved being together all of the time. But they needed a way to save that all-important deposit. Now, this is where, in 2016, John's parents stepped in with a brilliant plan. They refurbished their summer house so that Katie and John could live in the back garden while they saved. Now, this was a great way for Katie as well to really get to know John's family, as they had both his parents and grandparents for their neighbours. Like any other couple, Katie and John aren't perfect. John has never got the hang of how to use the washing machine and thinks super noodles should be boiled then simmered for 12 minutes. He likes to collect and then never use boxes, and there's the whole bedside sock thing he's got going. John, however, is amazed how many cups Katie can accumulate in the bedroom. He has found and cleaned about 16 in the past. John now hides most of the cups in high-up places, so they're well out of reach. But you know, they both know that these wee quirks will be with them for a lifetime. And they don't want to change each other. Because that's what love is about. Caring and accepting of each other for who they are. Not trying to make each other somebody that they're not. Katie admires John's stubborn streak, his cheeky, sarcastic humour that matches so well with her own. She admires that John is such a loyal and trustworthy man, who reminds her in many ways of her dad, who's the other number one man in her life. John admires Katie's perseverance. He sees her working long 10-hour shifts, which, if he's being honest, he doesn't think he'd cope with. John really admires that Katie's such a caring woman, who always tries to help others, and he thinks that she does far too much for him. He's very grateful to her. Katie and John are truly a couple who love each other. They laugh together. They enjoy making each other laugh as well, with a well-timed sarcastic comment. But if one of them is sad, so's the other one. They've never been a publicly romantic type of couple, but it can be seen at a glance that they have so much love and respect for each other. Katie and John are already on their way to fulfilling their goals together. After much hard saving in February 2017, they bought that wee home they dreamed of. And in anticipation of that, John became a man with a plan. Now, John says, after being sent multiple photos of engagement rings, he finally decided the time had come to buy one. He showed it to both his and Kate's parents. so he knew he had both families' approval. He wanted to ask Katie to marry him before they moved house, so decided to ask her on Christmas Eve. However, in November, John had some good news at work and told Katie to get dressed up and they would celebrate by going out for a meal. John knew there was no way he was going to wait until December to ask the question. So he simply proposed in the summer house. Katie was so delighted and excited that John had to remind her to give him an answer about an hour later, because she'd actually forgot to say yes. Katie and John are really looking forward to their future together. Katie feels that she was so lucky that they met when they were young, and they get the privilege of watching each other grow and mature together. Today is a milestone in their lives, and they now get to share every milestone as the years go on. They're looking forward to doing some travelling together next year, and already have plans for 10 city break holidays, so they can share new places and experiences with each other. They hope to progress their careers with the support of each other, and in the longer term, they would love to start a wee family. There's so much to look forward to. As for today, they're just so pleased to see so many of the people they love sitting here to support them for this milestone day, and want to thank you all for being with them. Katie and John hope you all have a wonderful day with them, and invite you all to enjoy the fizz, the food, the music, make new friends, and wonderful memories. Now, as with all love stories, words of love are exchanged. Now, when I met our bride and groom, I asked them to each, without the other knowing the content, send me 3 reasons why they love each other. And this is what they told me. Katie said, John doesn't care what other people think as much as I do, so he keeps me balanced. He takes his role as provider very seriously, and he's always looking out for what we need as a couple, rather than what he wants for himself. John is very loyal, and that's what I admire most about him. I can trust him with absolutely anything. And John said, Katie's sense of humour, our natural connection, and her patience with me. Katie and John. The key to love is understanding. The ability to comprehend not only the spoken word, but those unspoken gestures. The little things that say so much by themselves. The key to love is forgiveness, to accept each other's faults and pardon mistakes, without forgetting, but with remembering what you learned from them. The key to love is sharing. Facing your good fortunes as well as the bad together. Both conquering problems. Forever searching for ways to intensify your happiness. The key to love is giving without thought of return, but with a hope, just a simple smile. And by giving in, but never giving up. The key to love is respect, realising you're 2 separate people with different ideas. That you don't belong to each other, you belong with each other and share a mutual bond. The key to love is inside us all. It takes time and patience to unlock all the ingredients that will take you to its threshold. It's the continual learning process that demands a lot of work. But the rewards are worth more than the efforts. And that is the key to love. Katie and John. We've now come to the most important part of the ceremony, when you'll make your vows to each other. You'll also exchange rings as a symbol of the bond that exists between you, which you're promising today will remain unbroken throughout your lives. In the peace and tranquility of this place, let us all think for a moment of the step which Katie and John are about to make. And I feel sure that everybody here would join me in wishing for their union to grow in strength, their love to deepen through the coming weeks, months and years, And may you both learn the great joy that comes from giving and sharing. And may your hopes and dreams be realised. Now the wedding ring is a symbol of your love for each other. The unbroken circle representing unending love, wholeness and peace. The circle, which is also a symbol of the sun, the earth, the changing seasons and the universe as a whole. These rings are a permanent reminder of your love for one another and the vows you'll exchange today. So Katie and John, I'm now going to ask you to both make your personal vows and legal declarations to become husband and wife. Jamie, will you now please give Katie's ring to John? And John, will you take Katie's left hand and just hold the ring for a finger? John, will you now please repeat after me? I sincerely declare.
I sincerely declare.
That I, John McInnes Sim.
That I, John McInnes Sim.
Accept you.
Accept you.
Katie Sarah Middleton.
Katie Sarah Middleton.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
To love with all my heart.
To love with all my heart.
To live together and laugh together.
To live together and laugh together.
To grow together for all of our years.
To grow together with all of our years.
I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a token and a pledge.
As a token and a pledge.
Of constant trust.
Of constant trust.
And abiding love.
And abiding love.
Jamie, will you now give John's ring to Katie? Katie, will take John's ring. I'll ask you to make your vows. And you repeat after me. I sincerely declare.
I sincerely declare.
That I, Katie Sarah Middleton.
That I, Katie Sarah Middleton.
Accept you, John McInnes Sims.
Accept you, John McInnes Sim.
As my lawfully wedded husband.
As my lawfully wedded husband.
To love with all my heart.
To love with all my heart.
To live together and laugh together.
To live together and love together.
To grow together for all of our years.
To grow together for all of our years.
I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a token and a pledge.
As a token and a pledge.
Constant trust.
Of constant trust.
And abiding love.
And abiding love.
This is allowed. John and Katie, you've expressed your love to one another, and through that commitment and the promises you've just made, and it is with these in mind that I now pronounce you married. John, you may now kiss your bride.
speeches. First of which is Father of the Bride, Steve Middleton.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to let you know I have honestly lost my speech. It's up here, so we'll give it a go. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming along today to the marriage of John and Katie. I'm not used to speaking in public like this and folk listening to me. In fact, after being married for 34 years to the beautiful Pauline, and having lived most of those years in a house with 3 women, there's few opportunities I've had to actually speak. There's even fewer opportunities when people have listened to me. So it's a big welcome to everybody. Thank you for coming along here today. Welcome to Old Ardoe House from John, Linda, Pauline and I. This is a fantastic location, and it's one which holds a special memory for me and Pauline. We spent our wedding evening here in 1984. It's an emotional and a proud day for Pauline and I. Proud in seeing how our little girl has grown up today to be this beautiful and talented young woman, which is my absolute honour and a privilege to escort to today's ceremony. So where do I begin? 12:39 on Wednesday, the 18th of April 1990, would seem to be the right place when Katie Sarah Middleton made a quiet entry into this world at Aberdeen Royal Infirmary. But after a whiff of oxygen from the midwife, that all changed, and she hasn't really quietened down much since. Ever since Katie was a toddler and she learnt to speak, she lit up our life. She's lit up my life, Pauline's, and a big sister, Kimberly. That's probably because she always left the bloody lights on in the hall, the kitchen, the bedroom. You did, didn't you? I'm sure you all agree, though, she's lit up this room today, as have our stunning bridesmaids. And so have the mums, Linda and Pauline. However, Pauline's outfit today could have been so much more different. And the months leading up, she told me she was determined to get herself a very posh Mother of the Bride hat. So she ordered one online, paid a fortune, and waited it to arrive. She waited and waited. But eventually, Alistair, our postie, delivered it in a bag not much bigger than a crisp packet through the letterbox. Pauline was obviously a bit, you probably know some of this story, Pauline was obviously a bit worried about this, and in opening it, this is her posh Mother of the Bride hat. She realised she had bought it from scammers in China. There's good and bad news. The bad news is she's still waiting for a refund. The good news is last week I took a course in Mandarin. Now this actually says Mother of the Bride posh hat. Now, this is the part of the speech which Katie has been dreading. Is that right?
Yep.
I've been in the loft, and which of our old toys, which of our security blankets, which of the stories am I going to produce today? Well, Katie, down at my feet. None. However, I did find this. This is a game of virtual reality where the player adopts a character and they go through life. You've probably all played it, some of you. It's actually called The Sims. You couldn't make it up, could you? At 12 years old, she was a Sim. Now, in this game, what you do is you can do things like get a job, get money, buy a car, meet a boyfriend, get married, get a nice big house, all these sort of things. Now, as you heard at the speech earlier, we are really indebted to Big John, I'll call you Big John because he's wee John, and Linda for helping them when they got engaged to raise a bit of cash. You put them into the granny flat at the bottom of your garden to help them raise money. Where's Kathleen? Kathleen. Now, did you not live next door? So what the hell? What have you got? granny flat at the bottom of their garden. You live next door. And there was a hot tub. No, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But in the bottom of the garden, Katie used to spend an awful lot of time, I believe, with you in the hot tub, having a great time. And in the back of this game here, look, The Sims, there is actually a hot tub in the game she used to play. So now she's a Sim, this hot tub's come through. Now, I know she spent the time with you because she learned all these swear words that I never taught her. But anyway, getting back to the story, I remember once when Katie was about 12 and she shouted at me through the bedroom, laughing her head off. Dad, come through, look at this, look at this. So I came through and you had the game of The Sims, you were playing it. And he said, Dad, look. So I had a look and Katie was having a great life. 2 cars in the driveway. John, are you listening to this? 2 cars in the driveway. 4-bedroom detached house. Kids going, running amok everywhere. And in the back garden, there wasn't a hot tub. There's an Olympic-sized pool. There's a swimming pool. Dad, look in the pool. You know what's coming, don't you? Dad, look in the pool, look in the pool. So I looked in the pool. And if you've ever played The Sims, he said, Dad, look in the pool. I go, oh, look, I could see this lady going round and round in ever-decreasing circles, slowly disappearing. And then the Grim Reaper was floating across the garden in this game, which happens when somebody passes. I said, what's going on? She says, I've put the granny in the swimming pool and pulled up the ladder. She can't swim. She's going to drown. True. So Kathleen, when the pool comes along, you just be careful if you get an invite. Take some breathing apparatus or just say you're busy that day. Okay, at this point, tradition dictates that I welcome John into the family. I remember the first time John came round to visit us. Big John, small Katie, and smaller Pauline. He came in, he stood at the front doors. What was those shoes you had on? Vans or something? Black and white checks? It looked like an LSD flashback. So John's standing downstairs, and Pauline, she's a cuddly individual. She loves meeting people and all that. So John's come to the house. Pauline came running downstairs, but she stopped exactly halfway down the stairs. And that's so she was the same height as John. She looked him straight in the eye, and you give him a big cuddle and a hug, and you give him a big kiss, and said, hello, David. David was her ex. Yeah. She kissed him where?
On the neck. She was too short.
John, do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? Yes. Well, I should be asking my wife that one. Right. So anyway, that was John and our family. I must say, having got to know John, it was very obvious to us from an early age that John was very fond of my little girl. And it is tough for me because today I'm handing her over. But we have got a new son-in-law. Very happy with him. He's okay. Big John, Linda. Great to have them as new friends. They're fantastic. It's only if you've got vodka, it evaporates within about a yard of them. So, John, I'm glad you're taking over the reins from me. This is my little girl. And, excuse me. And, well, I just want to know that I loved her first. I've seen her wet herself. I've seen her crawling on the floor. I've seen the projectile vomits. But that's enough about our hen night. And John, part of the hen night, I found this in the house today. Now, John is a very laid-back sort of individual, I'd say. I mean, Mum, Dad, how would you describe his metabolism? You know, it's something akin to a paralysed sloth. Sorry, John, you're getting it both barrels. By the way, I wasn't really crying. In fact, I think milk would turn faster than you. But we are so proud to have John in our family. I'm absolutely delighted as a dad to have John. So that's great. Right, moving on. I think I may be overstaying my welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I can see the best man and the groom are chomping at the bit to get on with their speech. Jamie, this will be about the 6th time today you've risen from a hot seat with some paper in your hand. I've got one final pleasurable responsibility to fulfill, and that is to wish the happy couple a truly wonderful and long life together, a great marriage starting tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding, raise your glasses to the bride and groom.
Microphone drops.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in reply to those kind words, can I please ask you to give a warm welcome to the floor, your groom today, Mr. John Sim.
Thank you all. Now, that speech from Steve was wonderful. I've been warned for about 3 months to prepare myself, but it wasn't too bad, so Steve, thank you for that. The prop wasn't great, that's kind of tipped me over the edge, but in approximately about 1 minute, you're going to realise I haven't written this speech, but I'm just going to go for it, okay? So Katie told me to write this speech, but I've got a few notes that I'm sure I'll get through, and you can put them away because that's rude. That's what that is.
Forgot to wear these today's John and Katie's wedding. So what have you got on?
Oh, I'm true Scotsman tonight. That's it. Now, I don't like the sound of my voice, so I'm not going to go on for too long, but I've got a few people that, on behalf of my wife and I, that I need to thank. I was pre-warned to say that about 40 times, so allow me to go through my thanks. To Louise and the team at Ardoe, thank you for all of this. It looks wonderful. I was in here last night doing a little James Bond espionage to have a look, and it's fantastic. Katie was describing what we were getting for the wedding. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. So it wasn't until about 3 months ago what I knew what a centrepiece was, and I was paying £400 for it, and I was like, what is that? I was like, that's ridiculous. So to the team at Ardoe, thank you for just all of this. They've done a lot. I'll be toasting a few times today, but that's just so I can have a drink. This is only number 8, so I'll be on about 16 after this. So yeah, thank you. Now, I'd like to thank the bridesmaids for getting Katie back from Newcastle in one piece, wherever you are, scattered about, yeah. I've heard some stories about her in Newcastle, so she got her fake tan done and she was not the same race, were you? No. But I've got a tan. I've been working on that for about 3 weeks, so it's a compliment. I would have been a flash for the camera if I didn't do that. I'd personally like to thank my groomsmen for absolutely nothing. All they've done is, literally, all they've done is ask if I was nervous. I was like, great, that's great of you guys. And then I'm pretty sure they bought me about 4 drinks, so that's good. They're working their way up today, so hopefully by the end of the night they'll have earned their place tonight. I would personally just like to thank, on behalf of my wife and I, the parents, Big John and Linda. Thank you for raising me to be so charming and handsome. Now, we have flowers for both the mothers. I haven't seen these, but I got them yesterday, so no idea what the card says. I didn't ask for a card, so you have to just, it could be a thank you. Yeah, my parents allowed us to live in the shed, which was great. That was, honestly, if you really want, if you really want to strain your relationship, I can advise going into an 8x10 shed for about 9 months. Like it was really great to like learn the intimate details about your relationship when your toilet and your fucking shower is just it's right beside your bed. So that's kind of thing. Like Steve described a 4-bedroom house, which the folk from my work, I need a pay rise to get that in Aberdeen. That's what I need. But without that, we wouldn't have managed to get our house. So we thank you a lot for that. They still continue to help us because I'm absolutely useless with a hammer. My dad has sorted the fence. That was great. And just overall being a DIY man in my life. He's the man I look up to. And my mum, I think she cried at the ceremony, which is good. It shows that she cares. That's it. That's it. I'm not just getting a wife today, I'm also getting a family. So Steve and Pauline, I know I'm one of the most awkward people you probably have met. I've had about 7 drinks today, so I'm actually quite loose. And before I edit, Steve described me as being rather dull, but honestly, I don't drink very often, but when I do, things get a bit out of hand. So I might be carted out about 10 o'clock, but I'm trying my best here. That's it. But Steve and Pauline, they, like you described, welcomed me into life, and I was just awkward for about 3 years. I probably owe Steve about 15 grand in meals that he's purchased for. So I can't be leaving Katie anytime soon because I need to repay you for that. So I'll happily accept your daughter today. That's his quitch. Yeah. Now I need to thank my wife because I like to pretend that I had a hand in all this. Now, really, what I was a TSB man, and I transferred the money. But apart from that, I had no idea what was going on. So until about probably yesterday, when I knew the venue was actually going ahead, I didn't realise anything was happening. Katie organised this all, and without her, this wouldn't be happening. And she told me that multiple times. So don't worry, I know my place. I know that without Katie, none of this would have happened. And it's beyond our expectations. The room's fantastic. Just everything's going right. So to Katie, thank you for organising all this. I need our drinks, my throat's dry. Now, Sharon decided to pretty much cut half my speech in half because the whole story about how I met Katie was pretty much about 3 minutes of my speech. Now, you've already heard that story. So it was about 7 years ago, and I think it's about, because 2011, I had to confirm that last night. So 2011 we met, and I was far skinnier back then, I'm telling you. I had a jawline back then, and I think that's what attracted you, yeah? Is that what it was? Now, so we're now married, so my hairline can slowly go, and I can start gaining some weight. But I remember when I first saw Katie, I did think she was absolutely tiny, and I was like thinking, what's going on? Because she was on a decline, and I was upwards, so she looked about 2 foot tall, and I was drinking this day, so I was like, what's going on? She's a midget. But then what I said to myself, if I could ever get a date with her, I wouldn't leave. And it just shows that if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. So next thing I'm going to do is put my mind to winning the lottery. Now, if I say it's a free bar tonight, you know I've won. I think it's on tonight, but no, not right now. You pay for your own drinks. That's So it did take me about 4 months to break Katie down and just get her to go out with me. And back in that day, she needed to be Facebook official. She wasn't having it. So she was not having that. And I remember on our first date, me being the womanizer that I am, basically, in order to get her first kiss, I challenged her to a thumb war. And I swear to God, I lost that 6 times in a row. Like, I thought I had a bigger hand, like, just go for it. And no, she didn't let me win. So I was getting mixed signals there. So eventually, she did let me win. And then 5 years later, I think I got a text from the Halifax saying my credit card had been increased, so I thought, I'll be as well go get a ring. So I went and blitzed my new credit score, and that was it. And I proposed in probably the most unromantic way. Like she said, I was going to wait to Christmas Eve, but she'd already figured it out. You thought I was going to propose, and I thought, no, I've got to go out the bag here. So what I did was I bought her a pair of shoes, because I'm like that. I always buy Katie things. That's what I do. Just putting out a good name for myself here. So I gave her shoes. I said, there's a present for you. And I said, I've got something else for you. And now, this wasn't the intro to like a dirty movie or anything. This was just, this was me trying to propose. Now, Katie was faffing about putting her dress on, or whatever it was, because shoes on. And I said, we'll get dressed, we'll go to Borsellino's. So I sat on the bed in the shed, so it's a lovely setting, lovely wooden cabin, really idyllic. So I opened the box and I was like, will you marry me? And she's like, oh my God. And she was like on the phone to her mother, and I was just sitting like, what's going on? Like, she replied to me or not? And she hadn't. So I phoned the Borsellino, say, look, we just got engaged. I'd like a bottle of Prosecco on the table. Now, I thought I'd chance my luck and get a free bottle of Prosecco. Now, that's not what happened. I went down, and I don't drink Prosecco, and Katie didn't like it, and it cost me 30 quid. And I thought the lovely folk at the local restaurant would give us it for free. No, they stared me in the eye and asked me for like 80 quid for that, including 30 quid for the Prosecco. Asked us if we wanted to keep the bottle. I was like, nah. I kept it in the fridge with a spoon in it for about 20 months, honestly. The whole thing, the whole ordeal, it was just intense. And then we went and bought our house. So I've been in debt for about 5 years now. So I got the ring, I got the house, so we're really going for it. Luckily, she's not pregnant yet, so I've got... And like I said, if anyone wants to get me a vasectomy as a present, I'm more than open. Get the NHS over here. So we've had our house for about 2 years now, mortgage in December. And honestly, the amount of dishes this woman produces is unreal. So I need a dishwasher to maintain this marriage. And, because I'm losing the plot, that's the plot. See, there's my voice breaking. I said to myself, if my voice broke, I was stopping my speech. So I must be running on a bit. But Katie, I don't tell you enough. I do love you. And I promise that our lives together will be great. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming here today and drink, dance. No one cares what you look like when you're dancing. I'm shite, so you just if you see me and Katie like that in the slow dance, it's because she's tiny and I can't get anywhere there. So I'm about to pass you over to my best man, but Jamie, I'd like to just do a wee profile for Jamie. It's his birthday today. He's 28. Thank you. He's made it abruptly clear that it is his birthday, and he's been telling me that I've stolen his day. Now, Jamie's a single man. He's 5'11". He drinks, smokes. Age is not a number, ladies. Now, if you wait till a bit later on in the day, men, that'll be fine as well. Kyle, stay away. But he's absolutely bricking it. So I am looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And I'm just going to go pass the mic to him. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for pitting me with laughing, because I'm quite a jokester, quite a funny guy. That's what I've been told. And just put your hands together for Jamie Clayton. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for gathering here today to celebrate my birthday. I'd especially like to thank John and Katie for dressing up for the occasion. You really didn't need to. No, it is my birthday, but we're here for a much bigger celebration. We're here to celebrate the marriage of John and Katie. But by stealing my birthday, I get to stay 27 for another year, right? Yeah. So for those of you who don't have the extreme pleasure of knowing me, I am Jamie, and I have the honour of being John's best man. although I'm convinced he only asked me to do this for this moment now to watch me suffering. I'm not going to lie, I've been dreading this moment. I have no real experience giving speeches or public speaking, but I've been told it's much like going to a nudist beach. The first few moments are always the hardest. Actually, as John will tell you, I had a bit of a reputation back in school for giving ridiculously long talks that dragged on for about 3/4 of an hour, so you might want to get comfortable. Now, I assure you I won't keep you that long today. In fact, when I heard these speeches generally go on for about 10 minutes, I panicked, because I thought, how am I supposed to stand up here and just take the piss out of John for 10 minutes? Actually, it might not be that hard. I've known John for literally as long as I can remember. I think we started hanging around school because we were the only two weird kids that listened to heavy metal. But this is obviously before John discovered Korean pop music and Frank Sinatra. But believe it or not, he did used to be a metalhead. And for those of you who haven't known him as long as I have, it might surprise you to know that along with myself, Roy, and Dick, who's out there somewhere, we actually used to play in a death metal band. I did try to reunite the band to perform today, but apparently death metal isn't appropriate wedding music. To be fair, I'm not sure how Katie would have felt about doing the first dance to a cover of a song by Cannibal Corpse. Never mind, I'm sure the professional band will do just a fine job. But our band's career was short-lived, but we did play a couple of gigs in town. The first one I'll never forget. We were playing in a club called Kef, and the place was packed. We'd sold tickets to everybody at school, and for two young kids like me and John, this was a dream. And then 30 seconds into the very first song, and I'm not going to blame anyone, Roy Brown, but the speakers burst into flames. So they were evacuating the building, and I turn around and see John still standing on the stage, guitar in hand, dancing around the microphone stand, singing Fire in the Disco. So that was our first gig. It was short and sweet, but then first times usually are, aren't they? He's come a long way since then, though. These days, he's more Sinatra than Metallica, more Rat Pack than Slipknot. The Slayer t-shirts have long since been binned, and the hair is drastically shortened. He sees himself as quite the suave, sophisticated, gentlemanly type, and he's at his happiest listening to Dean Martin in a suit, with a cigar in one hand and a Disaronno in the other. And now, he doesn't like cigars, and in truth, everybody knows he's a blue wicked man, but Disaronno bears a closer resemblance to whiskey, and he's just seen one too many episodes of Mad Men. Me and John, we grew up together and ultimately became men together. Although it might have looked like we go a different direction at one point with our long hair, our nails painted black, and I think even the occasional use of eyeliner. Nevertheless, we did become men. Although John's recent trips to sunbeds have got me wondering if he's reverting to his old ways. You're not fooling anyone, John. You didn't get that tan in Barcelona. Jokes aside, John's a great guy. He's very driven, motivated, and he's achieved a lot. I mean, he was in my maths class at school, so I can imagine the extent of his knowledge on the subject, and yet now he works as an accountant. But he's focused, he knows what he wants, and he knows how to get it. I don't know how he does it. Either does Katie. She's still wondering how she ended up stuck with him. When John first introduced me to Katie, I knew that they would eventually get married. To be fair, they'd been together for well over a year by this point, so it wasn't that psychic on my part. But after waiting so long to meet her, I think on some level, I was just relieved to find out that she was actually real. But I think John delayed introducing us out of fear that Katie would find out what he's really like. But after all these years, I think she must know. And here we are, so it's obviously meant to be. Having got to know Katie over the years and seeing the two of them together, I know they really are a great couple and they're made for each other. And as much as I hate to pay the guy a compliment, Katie could do worse. And he certainly couldn't do better. Now, apparently, in a best man speech around about now, I would be expected to offer some advice to the couple, some words of wisdom. However, I don't really think I'm the right guy for this, so I'm just going to carry on taking the piss out of John. John's one piece of advice for me when I was writing this speech, or his one rule rather, was to make sure and mention that he was always the handsome one. But I'm not going to stand here and lie to you all. You give him his due. These days he's always well dressed, goes to the gym regularly, cuts his hair every weekend or something ridiculous. And I think I mentioned the sunbeds, right? But he likes to look good. But over the years, he's had some bold looks. Even before the days of the leather trench coat and hair down to his arse, he once sported an even more daring hairstyle. Now, I'm not saying that they copied him, but long before Justin Bieber and Lionel Messi did it, John had an immaculate bleach blonde quiff. And this was the 90s, so you might say he was a trendsetter. I'm going to wrap this up now so that we can all get a drink. I know I need one. And remember, if you see me at the bar, it is my birthday, just saying. I just want to say, as much as preparing and performing this speech has been the most stressful experience of my life, it has been an absolute honour to stand by the side of my best friend today and watch him marry the love of his life. I couldn't be prouder and I couldn't be happier for the both of you. So if everyone would like to raise a glass and toast the happy couple, Mr. and Mrs. Sim.